starting school?
2016.
2014.
I joined junior infants in 1982, so 40 years ago this year.
1981
Okay.
was my junior infants year in the school.
About 1960. Before that.
You weren't allowed to do anything really with the war. And they were always afraid that the college was going to be bombed and everything. And the German planes used to pass on out over here, one to Belfast, to bomb Belfast. So we used to hear them at night. They'd waken you up at 12 o'clock at night maybe, going up to bomb the north. It was very scary really. And the nuns used to be telling us to say our last act of contrition that we mightn't be back tomorrow. Frightened the heart out of us. But they had a soldier out at My Dear Crossroads in a hut. They were all the time expecting a raid from the north, like that the Republicans here would attack the north, and they thought Hitler might help them up above to get the north back, but it didn't happen.
There wasn't as many cars, and over where Manor Mills was, there was a grain factory. So when we all walked to school, there was a big smell of grain every morning and every evening when we walked to and from school.
Certainly in this area it was an awful lot quieter. We had the mill going 24/7 just down the road, so there used to be a bit of a smell coming off the mill. Kavanagh's Mill was there, so that's one of the things I remember from the playground. But it was an awful lot less busier, not as much traffic around. An awful lot of the boys used to walk to school.
I walked until I was 12. 6 to 12 I walked. And then I had a bicycle.
The mill was there when I was going to school. And you could get, when you pass it, there was no free air. It was always polluted by the grain out of the mill. Because they were milling and they were transferring by truck all the grain when it was milled. But it gave employment. That was important. There was another place in that time that gave employment. A place called Bland and Grant on the main street, which is now the AIB Bank. It was a chocolate factory, so it was very popular insofar as it made chocolate, and people had to work there, and people stuffed their pockets when they were coming home, you know. But it was good.
What games did you play at school?
Football. Rugby would have been a sport I played as well and we really enjoyed, but it wasn't in the school at the time. So yeah, it was generally football and soccer in the yard.
We used to play a bit of football because instead of the Astro, we used to have a grass area out there. So we were allowed to play football out there. And we played rounders, I think, during the school on the yard as well, with tennis racket and ball.
Yeah.
Played football. Basically football. I liked handball, but that wasn't a school game.
Well, usually when we're out on the yard, then sometimes we might play a few games like football and them kind of stuff.
Shakes and tag and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that what you played, Tommy?
Yeah.
I used to play that as well.
Oh, changed very much. An awful lot of people lived in the main street that time. That's all the businesses now. And there's no bus, only 1 or 2 or 3 in the day. The war was on in the 40s, you see. So everything was rationed and curtailed and everything. It was different. School was very different.
But it was there was a lot more trucks on the main street because there was no motorway either. So the trucks and the buses and the cars all went all through the main street and up by the school and out towards Kilcock. So while there wasn't as many cars on the road, they all had to go through the main street to get by Maynooth.
It has. The shops have changed. You know, like there was only 1, 2 shops. My late mother had a shop in the main street. She used to sell groceries at one side of the shop and drapery at the other side of the shop. And she used to deliver the groceries in a van. So I was working from an early age, going in the van.
Oh no, there's only 2 cars in the whole place, the doctor and the priest. And there was a rich lady lived over by Kilcock and she had one as well.
Maynooth was a lovely village. We had, all we had was the priests walking up and down the town when they used to be let out of the college, and you'd salute the priests, every one of them, and they'd salute you back. I actually saluted a priest this morning and he saluted me back. The priest with the beard that's here in Maynooth.
Yeah.
But it was a lovely village back then.
What's your favourite memory of school?
Half days,
Yeah.
summer holidays. No, mostly playing football on the school teams and doing art on a Friday.
Alright.
I suppose getting home in the evening, getting away from it. It's like James.
School was different back then insofar as on the way to school, I cried because of what was ahead of me. And on the way home from school, I cried because of what happened to me in school. It was not a very happy time for me going to school because of the punishment that was issued at that time.
Last Friday we won the North Kildare Cup.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks.
I don't think we got as much homework as you boys get nowadays. So no, we had a really good class. There were our group. There's a lot of people who love playing sport and football. So we had Mr. Downs coaching us Gaelic. He was in the school until a couple of years ago. So I had a few teachers who were still here up till a couple of years ago. That Mrs. Gunn and Mr. Downs that taught me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it.
Mr. Downs was still here, like I couldn't believe it, like, because I remember, like Mr. Downs, I suppose when you're younger, everybody seems much older, and I'm kind of thinking back, God, how is Mr. Downs still here? Like, how is he still teaching? How is that possible? But I suppose when you're younger and smaller, everything seems much bigger and stuff like that. So yeah, it's changed quite a lot.
I won't say I had a favourite teacher, and he moved to Mayo, and I can't remember what his name was.
Oh.
He was a lovely teacher. And I had another one at the other end of the scale that used to stand on my toes and beat me around the face.
Oh,
I suppose one of my memories that I have in 5th class, we had a teacher, Mr. McBride, Joey McBride, and he, for our school tour, we went on a plane to Shannon, which was quite a surreal school tour. Looking back at it, we flew down to Shannon in the aeroplane, and we got off in Shannon, and then got a train home all in the one day. So that was a bit strange, bit of fun at the time. I think he had a bit of a job minding 40 5th class guys at the time, so that was fun.
And yeah, some were very cross and some were very nice. Just had to be on the good side for some of them.
So we chalkboards that used to creak when the screech when the teacher got down to the last bit of chalk, and sometimes if your ball of chalk flew across the classroom. So yeah, it was a bit different back then.